What's going on YouTube? Heretic back again. I know I've been flooding YouTube with a bunch of videos here these last couple days to make up for how few have been up lately, and because we're on the verge of Worlds. Less than, well, I guess a little more than 24 hours until registration and check-in, less than 2 full days, and we will be underway with day 1. So today I'm coming to you live from Vernon, Connecticut, just outside Hartford, and visiting some more family today. And we're going to count down my top 10 promising picks for the Ancient Origins expansion as we get ready to go into the new format. And we will start things off with number 10, Sceptile EX. Now, initially I was a rather large fan of the Mega Evolution version of this guy. Now, not so much. I tested that out, as you probably saw in my match video with Squeaky, and I wasn't really impressed by Mega Tyranitar or Mega Sceptile, but definitely like this guy, mainly for his second attack, Unseen Claw, which for Grass and a Colorless does 60, plus if your opponent's active is affected by a status condition, then they take 70 more damage. So stuff like Ariados or in expanded format, Hypnotoxic Laser can definitely be really good there. So I guess in a way it's kind of similar in meeting and condition to go from low energy cost to go from 60 up to like 120, 130-ish, like similar to Manectric EX with Assault Laser, where that needs a Pokemon tool attached to them, and you play a Head Ringer versus like a Laser or an Ariados. Otherwise pretty similar, just different typing. So that's about all I got for that one. Number 9, I have Vileplume. And you guys might be wondering why this card is as low as it is on this list. I know a lot of people would probably try to put this in their top 4, top 5. My reasoning right now, again, I have tested Vileplume with some friends who specialize in lock decks, which, you know me, I don't. But I did not have difficulty beating it. I think there's a lot of cards that are in the game now that we didn't have when this was around from HGSS, and I also just think that the game right now is in a different place on its own compared to where it was then, and so I don't think this is quite as potent as it would have been. The other thing worth noting there is that we are rotating into a format where there are not very many draw supporters, and really only one good one, and that's Professor Sycamore. So reach item cards like Trainer's Mail and Acrobite could definitely see a bit of play if people don't want to start maxing out Birch and Shauna and stuff like that. So the reason I say that is, as could be a negative as well as a positive for Vileplume, is because the Vileplume player themselves would likely find themselves needing to try and play cards like that to make it work as well, to keep their deck consistent, along with their Shaman EXs. But what he does is pretty simple, and I do believe that while Vileplume is legal, there will be a time when it will become Tier 1. I just don't think it's going to happen right away. At number 8, another card that I think a lot of people would put higher, and that's Hoopa EX. My reasoning behind this, first of all, he's pretty much, if you play him in like the Colorless Ray decks or Metal Ray, he's probably only a 1-of. His attack is absolute garbage unless you play a Psychic deck, and even then you can't take advantage of Dimension Valley, so I'm not sure how valid it is. You play him for his ability to search your deck when you put him down from your hand for up to 3 EXs, so you go get Rayquaza, Mega Ray, if you have a Spirit Link, and then Shaman. Or, you know, you could do that with, if you were playing Mega Sceptile, I guess you could do that, because Force the Giant Plants, which we will get to on this list, would also allow you to evolve right away. But, I mean, for the most part, he's a single use. I guess if you Super Scoop him, you could use him again, but you got to figure how many times you're going to be able to search like that. That's pretty much all Hoopa does. After that, he's just kind of a sitting duck with 2 retreat that you really just don't want to have brought up. Shaman might have less HP, but he has a far more busted effect, and he only has 1 retreat plus an attack that can bounce him back to your hand for all colorless, so more utility there as opposed to Hoopa. Number 7, we have Vespiquen. This is like a better version of Plasma Flareon. And I say better for 2 reasons here, maybe actually 3. First of all, its first attack, for 1 colorless, deals a measly 10 damage, but allows you to draw your hand up to 6. I actually have used this before to get out of dead draws or dead hands early on. She also has a free retreat cost. And finally, with Level Ball returning to format, her 90 HP is actually relevant as opposed to 100 that Flareon had, because now she is a Level Ball target just as well as Combee. Also compatible once again with Forest of Giant Plants. Really, I think the biggest weakness, or the 2 biggest weaknesses of Vespiquen as far as its own deck goes, are the reliance on double colorless energy, and then of course all the low HP, making it very vulnerable to the Crobat line. But nonetheless, I do think that's a very good card and a good deck, so Vespiquen sits at number 7. Number 6, we're going to have 3 cards in one place, and that is the new Flareon, Jolteon, and Vaporeon. And these all do the same thing, pretty much just for their own types. While Flareon is in play, each of your Stage 1 Pokemon are counted as fire types as well as whatever type they normally are. Vaporeon treats them all as water types, and Jolteon is lightning. Now, this just basically, like, you get one of each out on your bench. Let's say all of your Stage 1s are fire, water, and lightning, as well as if they're a different type to begin with, you know, like, say, like Vespiquen, for example, grass. All of a sudden, Vespiquen's hitting hitting all 4 of these types, anything that's weak to any of those 4 types. Dugtrio from XY and an expanded Donphan from Plasma Storm are other possible cards you can play with these. Definitely a very interesting concept that I really appreciate them adding to the game to try and make non-EXs and evolutions a bit more playable. Kind of stinks when everything is just EX and basic Pokemon support, so definitely a breath of fresh air to see stuff like this. I just wish this guy would not have been a foil. Like it's like these 2 are uncommons. Can't you do the same thing? Is that free retreat really worth bumping it up to a foil? But that's my number 6, Evolutions. Number 5, we have Energy Recycler. This is a card that I think could have gotten Virizion Genesect a little bit of play at Nationals, U.S. National Championships, had this been released in Roaring Skies as opposed to Ancient Origins, because in Japan this was a promo, so definitely could have been one set earlier, but they chose not to give it to us then, so I don't know. I definitely like that they did finally give us this card, though. Sacred Ash for basic energies, pretty much. Just shuffle 5 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your deck. Of course, we'll get Super Rod back next set, which will make Sacred Ash and Energy Recycler mostly obsolete, except for a couple of specific decks, maybe. But for now, it's a good card. I like it. I think it could definitely see some play in certain decks. And that's number 5. Number 4, Unknown. And this one also might seem a little bit high, but if he's on your bench, you can discard him. Does not count as a knockout, so no prizes given up, and you draw 1 card. Kind of stinks if he gets stuck in the active, but oh well. Pretty good card. Fast draw engine. Decks like Shiftry, Vespiquen, anything like that can definitely take advantage of this. I'm definitely a fan of that. Not really much else to say about this. You're really never going to attack with it. 1 colorless, hidden power to 10. Whoop-de-doo. So yeah, that's Unknown. Number 3, we have Lugia EX, and this is the second Lugia EX that's been made since EXs were reintroduced in Next Destinies, 3rd one overall, and guess what? They've all been good. Hooray! However, unlike the Plasma Lugia, which was more of something you build a deck around, this one is more of just a splash attacker, as he's kind of the new Mewtwo EX. Arrow Ball, the exact same thing as X-Ball, just different name. 2 colorless, 20 damage times the number of energy attached to both itself and the opponent's active. What I like about this Lugia is the second attack, which you're probably not going to use too often, but it is there as a lingering threat, which is Deep Hurricane for 4 colorless, so 2 double colorless energies or whatever, however you want to do that. You do 80 damage, plus if there's a stadium in play, ditch it and do 70 more damage. So it's a good way to get rid of Silent Lab, I guess, if you don't have an alternative like a Stadium of your own to bump it out. Also, just 150 damage. You muscle band him, it's 170. You're KOing a lot of unevolved EXs if they haven't gone Mega on us. There's a couple exceptions, but otherwise, yeah, you're pretty much be knocking any of them out. So that's pretty good. I'm definitely a fan of that. So pretty solid card overall. Do I think it's better than the Plasma one? Probably not, but it doesn't rely on a combo at least, so. Plus it's a Lugia. That's pretty cool. So that is number 3. Number 2, we're going to look at, this one was almost number 1 for me, and that is Hex Maniac, a card that I think some people really overlooked to start out when the set was first revealed. In my playtesting, I have won so many games off this card, with Vespiquen just being able to shut down that Aegislash for a turn. Some other things you can do with that, you can protect yourself from Golbat and Crobat abilities, you can prevent your opponent from using acceleration abilities like in expanded format Blastoise or Electric, or even in standard Bronzong using Metal Links. A lot of other things, you know, you can first turn, if you go first, you could stop a Shiftry, Giant Fan going off for a turn. You could also stop Shamans from drawing a whole bunch of extra cards. Just really a ton of things, a lot of ways that you can utilize this card. And had it not been for what ended up being our number 1 card and some of the combos it's introduced, this definitely would have been number 1 in almost any other set. Absolutely incredible supporter card, especially for one that doesn't do draw or search power. Just really a great card. Definitely the I would say definitely the second best effect supporter that doesn't do draw or search power in the game, only behind Lysander. And then got some honorable mentions real quick. We will look at the non-ancient trait Entei, which is pretty much Plasma Absol, only fire type. It also has that first attack, Burning Roar, which lets you ditch the top 4 cards of your deck, and if any of them are fire energy, you get to attach them pretty much wherever you want. So that's pretty nice. And you could also try to just use it to discard cards off the top of your deck for something like Night March or Vespiquen. I mean, it is a colorless energy for that attack, and some Vespiquen builds just run off fire energy for their basic, so you could potentially use the second attack too. Definitely an idea I've kicked around mentally a bit. Another honorable mention is Ariados. Once per turn, his ability lets you poison both active Pokemon, except for grass types. Very good partner there to combo with Sceptile EX. His attack is fairly lackluster. We don't really care about that. And then the reprint of Level Ball, because it was out of format. So after a year being out of format, it's nice to see this card come back. I think it's a very good card for the game to support non-EXs and stage 1s and all that, especially with the new Eevee line. All 3 evolutions, 90 HP, Vespiquen, 90 HP. You can search Ariados, you can search all of the basics like that in the unknown. You can search stage 1s of stage 2 lines. Just a really, really solid card there. Definitely a fan of that. And then for our number 1, we will be looking at Kyurem EX. No, I'm just kidding. Get that out of here. Forest of Giant Plants, ladies and gentlemen. If anyone has seen the Shiftry deck, you know why this is number 1. This also has combos with cards like Vileplume, Mega Sceptile EX, and Vespiquen. This is Broken Time Space, just only for grass types. It's still Broken Time Space in its own way, or I guess now we call it Broken Vine Space. There's not really a whole lot else to say about that besides, I guess, that Butterfree line. I guess Caterpie and Metapod's abilities are kind of pointless now. But this card just single-handedly is the best card in the set. There's no question asking. Otherwise, Hex Maniac, I mean, in a lot of sets, like I said, Hex Maniac would have been number 1, but not with this thing floating around. So that is my top 10, or technically top 12, it looks like, because there's 3 evolutions there. Cards from the set and 3 honorable mentions. I guess Mega Tyranitar EX could be a 4th honorable mention. I don't have one, so have to do without that on being on display here right now. Not too impressed with that one either, as in the same vein as Skeptile, but I guess I'll go ahead and throw that out there as an honorable mention. That's about all I got for you guys right now, and tomorrow for check-in, I am looking forward to seeing as many of you as possible and up in Boston for the World Championships. Bring it on, guys. See you later. Cheers.
Steve.
What?
Get your Hex Maniacs.
Why?
There's a shifter behind you.
Oh, God. No, 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 no giant fan. No giant fan. No giant fan.